God's blessings from Christ Lutheran Church in Pewaukee, Wisconsin. I'm Pastor Tim Gerbing. It's great to be with you today. Today's devotion is based on Matthew. We'll read there chapter 20, verses 20 to 23. Then the mother of Zebedee's sons came to Jesus with her sons, and kneeling down, asked a favor of him. "What is it you want?" Jesus asked. She said, "Grant that one of these two sons of mine may sit at your right and the other at your left in your kingdom." "You don't know what you are asking," Jesus said to them. "Can you drink the cup I am going to drink?" "We can," they answered. Jesus said to them, "You will indeed drink from my cup, but to sit at my right or left is not for me to grant. These places belong to those for whom they have been prepared by my Father." When I was in my early 20s, I got a job at Cedarburg Dairy in Cedarburg, Wisconsin. And the first year there, I worked the cooler and the loading dock where we loaded semi-trailers with Roundy milk products. The guys I noticed in the plant who ran filling machines, filling gallon, half-gallon, quart, pint, etc., kind of containers, seemed to have a far easier job than what I had. And so when a job posting for the plant's break and vacation relief position opened up, I signed up for it. I got that job. And it was much harder than I anticipated. After a couple of years, a management position opened up for a plant supervisor, and the plant manager asked me to consider it. Again, I thought about how much easier that would be than all the physical labor that I was doing, and so I accepted that position. But the pressure of making schedules and disciplining or firing employees, making sure that all state and federal regulations were being followed, reporting to corporate leaders, all of that was far harder than I had thought it would be. I was naive. And so were the disciples, James and John, in our reading today. They convinced their mom to ask Jesus to give them the most important seats in Jesus' kingdom. Now, this is a humorous account. James and John think so much of themselves that they believe they qualify for those seats of power, but they are too scared to ask Jesus themselves. They're proud, they're cowardly, and naive. And in fact, so far as Jesus' disciples, they had proven themselves to be pretty inept. Jesus' reply shames James and John. They were so self-absorbed in what they thought was their own greatness that without knowing what those seats of power entailed, they just assumed that they belonged there. Meanwhile, standing before them is Jesus, the all-powerful Son of God, the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, who does not even make that kind of assumption for himself. He defers to his Father in heaven. He immediately submits himself in selfless love to his Father's authority. So often we think far too highly of ourselves, and we assume that we are better than other people, that the way that they live or the choices that they make are less acceptable to God than the choices that we make. But the fact is that none of us can make claims like that, not even when we compare ourselves to unbelievers, Christians and non-Christians, atheists and pagans. Standing on their own before God are all utter and complete failures to God. It's only because of Jesus' works and his righteousness, it's only because of his suffering and his sacrifice that any person is made acceptable before God. to be the very least in heaven is more than anyone deserves. But because of God's love, Jesus makes us acceptable to him. Knowing and believing that should wipe all our pride and our naivete away. Amen.